You think earning $10,000 a month would finally fix your life. And honestly, that makes sense. Because when money feels tight, a salary like that starts to look like the answer to everything. You imagine the pressure finally getting lighter. You imagine catching up. You imagine breathing again without feeling like one unexpected expense could ruin your entire month. And maybe, for a moment, that new income would help. But here is the uncomfortable question. What if that money only fixes the emergencies of your old life, but creates entirely new ones? What if the real problem does not begin when the money is gone? What if it begins before the money even arrives? Because maybe the issue is not just how much money you make. Maybe it is the system your money enters the moment it shows up. Maybe you have already felt this before. You got a raise, you made more than you used to make. Life looked a little better, things felt possible again, but the peace did not last as long as you expected. And that is where this gets dangerous. Because if you do not understand what is happening underneath, $10,000 a month may not become freedom. It may become just another number your new lifestyle learns how to absorb. And this is the first mistake most people make. They confuse relief with freedom. When you are under pressure, a bigger paycheck feels like freedom. If you reached $10,000 a month tomorrow, part of you would feel rescued before you even knew what to do with it. For a few days, maybe even a few weeks, your shoulders would drop. Your mind would get quieter. You would feel like you finally had a little control again. But relief is not the same thing as freedom. Relief is when the pressure gets lighter for a moment. Freedom is when the pressure has less power to come back. And if your financial system has not actually changed direction, the same pressure will return wearing a more expensive shape. A better looking life, a heavier standard, a version of success that now needs to be maintained. That is where many people get trapped. A salary bump can feel like a rescue when you are tired enough. That is why a number like $10,000 a month can be so dangerous emotionally. It looks big enough to save you. But if nothing underneath changes, it will not buy your freedom. It will just become a very expensive set of golden handcuffs. And before we even talk about your habits, you need to understand something important. Those golden handcuffs are not always created by bad decisions. Part of the pressure is real. Life in America has become more expensive in the places you actually feel it. The car, the groceries, the rent, the insurance. The repair you did not plan for. The dinner that used to feel casual and now feels like a financial decision. This is why even a strong income can feel weaker than it looks from the outside. $10,000 a month sounds like safety, but safety depends on what that income has to carry. A few years ago, a high salary could stretch further. Today, one major category of life can swallow a shocking amount of money before it ever turns into freedom. Look at cars. In 2025, the average new vehicle in the United States was hovering around $49,000. At one point, it even crossed $50,000. That is not just a car problem. That is a life cost problem, because a car is not only the price on the sticker, it is the payment, the insurance, the repairs, the fuel, the maintenance, and the stress of keeping it all moving. And it is not only cars. Food away from home keeps rising. Groceries take more. Housing takes more. Insurance takes more. Even the small things that used to feel easy now seem to ask for a little more from you. So if you feel like you are making more money but not feeling richer, you are not imagining everything. Part of the pressure is coming from the outside. The same income does not buy the same life it used to buy. That is why a good salary can feel smaller the moment real life touches it. But that is only the first layer. Because the economy can make your life more expensive from the outside. But there is another kind of inflation that is even harder to notice, the kind that happens inside your own life. And this is the inflation nobody measures for you. There is no headline for it, no chart on the news, no official report telling you that the cost of being you has gone up. Your income rises, and your life starts adjusting around it, not all at once. Not through one reckless decision that ruins everything overnight. It usually begins with something that feels reasonable, a little more comfort, a little less restriction, a slightly better option because, for once, you can finally afford not to choose the cheapest one. And that is why it is so hard to notice. The upgrade does not feel dangerous at first because it arrives disguised as relief. You are not thinking, I want to make my life harder. You are thinking, I worked for this. And maybe you did. After years of pressure, you do not just want more money in your account. You want proof that your life is actually improving. You want your daily life to feel different. So the better apartment feels like progress. The nicer car feels like proof. Eating out feels like breathing room. The easier weekend feels like a reward. The newer phone, the better groceries, the more comfortable routine. None of it feels reckless in the moment. It feels earned. But this is where lifestyle inflation becomes dangerous because the first time you upgrade, it feels special. The second time, it feels normal. And after a while, going back starts to feel like losing. That is the real trap. It is not just that you spend more, it is that your definition of normal becomes more expensive. And once your definition of normal changes, $10,000 a month can stop feeling like a high income. It can start feeling like the amount required to keep the new version of your life standing. At first, you think more money is giving you freedom. But if your lifestyle grows every time your income grows, your paycheck is not creating distance from pressure. It is teaching your life how to need more. And this is how the next number trap begins. At first, you think the problem is the number you have not reached yet. If you could just make a little more, everything would calm down. Then you get there. The income rises, the pressure drops for a moment. You feel like you finally crossed the line you were chasing. But slowly, that number stops feeling impressive. It becomes normal. Then it becomes necessary. And before long, the same mind that once thought $10,000 a month would be freedom starts looking for the next number. Maybe 12,000 would feel safer. Maybe 15,000 would finally create room. Maybe 20,000 would make the pressure go away. But if every new level becomes the new minimum, the problem keeps moving with you. That is why some people can double their income and still feel only one bad month away from stress. They are not poor in the obvious way. They are trapped in a life that keeps updating the definition of enough. And when that happens, the next number does not save you. It only becomes the next finish line your lifestyle learns how to move. And this is where the real problem becomes clear. More income cannot fix a life that has no system. Because without a system, every dollar receives the same instruction. Go wherever the pressure is loudest. Some of it goes to bills, some of it goes to debt, some of it goes to keeping the lifestyle comfortable. Some of it goes to things you did not plan for, and some of it disappears into small decisions you barely remember making. The paycheck may be bigger, but the pattern is still the same. Money comes in, pressure decides where it goes. And whatever is left is what you call progress. That is not control. That is reaction. A financial system does not need to be complicated. It simply means your money has a job before your emotions, your stress, or your lifestyle decide for you. Without that, $10,000 a month can still feel unstable. Because the issue is not only how much you earn, the issue is whether your money has a direction. If it does not, more income just gives the same chaos a bigger budget. So the solution is not to make less money, and it is not to feel guilty for wanting a better life. The solution is to give new money a job before your lifestyle gives it one. Because if extra income enters your life with no direction, it usually follows the easiest path. Comfort, convenience, upgrades, pressure, emotion. The version of life that feels good today but becomes expensive tomorrow. That is why the first job of new money should not be to prove that you are doing better. The first job of new money is to create distance between you and financial pressure. Before the upgrade, it should create margin. Before the status, it should reduce risk. Before the better lifestyle, it should make your current life harder to break. That may mean paying down toxic debt. It may mean building an emergency fund. It may mean investing before your lifestyle has a chance to absorb the raise. It may mean keeping your fixed expenses lower than your income says they could be. It may mean letting your life improve more slowly than your paycheck. And that is hard because when you finally start earning more, part of you wants evidence. You want to feel the win. You want to see the reward. You want your life to look different because the work was real. But the strongest financial move is often the one nobody sees, the debt you quietly remove, the savings you quietly build, the investment you quietly keep adding to, the monthly payment you never create, the lifestyle upgrade you delay until your foundation is ready. Because new money should not only make your life look better, it should make your life lighter. And that only happens when the money has a purpose before the pressure gets to it. This is why the same $10,000 a month can create two completely different lives. One person reaches that income and immediately lets the lifestyle rise to meet it. The apartment gets better, the car gets nicer, convenience becomes normal, the weekends get more expensive. The card balance feels manageable because the paycheck is bigger now. From the outside, life looks upgraded, but underneath, the pressure is still there. The income changed, but the system did not. So $10,000 a month becomes the fuel required to keep the new life standing. Another person reaches the same income and does something different. They still improve their life, but they do not let every new dollar become a new obligation. They use part of that money to lower debt, build margin, create reserves, invest consistently, and reduce how much pressure the next paycheck has to carry. From the outside, the change may look smaller, but inside, life is getting stronger. And that is the difference. The first person uses more money to build a more expensive life. The second person uses more money to build more control. So no, $10,000 a month is not the problem. The problem is what happens to that income after it arrives. If it only gives you more to maintain, it becomes golden handcuffs. But if it gives you more room, more options, and less dependence on the next paycheck, then it can finally become freedom. And if this made you realize that income alone does not tell the whole story, then the next thing you need to understand is whether your money is actually doing the right job for your stage of life. Because at 30, your money should not be doing the same job it should be doing at 40. And at 50, the game changes again. At some point, your money has to stop only helping you survive today and start proving that your future is becoming stronger. That is exactly what I break down in the next video. How much money you should have by 30, 40, and 50. Not as a random number, not as a comparison game, but as the real checkpoints that show whether your money is buying stability, assets, time, and freedom, or quietly keeping you trapped.